Well, I've watched a lot of Warriors third quarters in my life, but this is the first time I've been on the other end of it. And I gotta tell you, it wasn't fun. With that being said, I mainly want to talk about the Warriors' defense in this one because I think that was still the biggest, if not the most noticeable reason they won this game, especially that third quarter. The Celtics' offense in the third, it was a little bit of a mess, man. Number one, the Warriors switching certain actions was really effective. Clay was defending Horford, which allowed him to switch onto, let's say, Tatum. And then there was a moment where, this was third quarter, where it was the double big lineup in Time Lord. He's not really at the dunker spot. He's like, I guess, a little closer to like the elbow or so. And it's Looney and Wiggins just collapsing on Horford, who I guess for a split second did have a lob to Time Lord, but it would have been a pretty tough thing to see just like that. And that resulted in Horford missing a hook over Looney instead of a Tatum drive or a Time Lord lob or whatever it could have been. There was a play not long after that one where Time Lord and Smart were running a handoff action, and Looney switched on to Marcus, which that was a little bit of a question. Were they going to have him switching on actions? And yeah, they've been willing to do that. And as Marcus attempted to drive on Looney, both Jalen and Time Lord were just sitting in the paint, so Looney blocked him from behind, but there was really nowhere for Marcus to go anyway. Speaking of the switching, there were possessions where Tatum was able to get a mismatch on, let's say, Jordan Poole or whatever, through him screening. Same thing with Steph. But what would happen is the Warriors would then just pack the paint so much, and sometimes it would be Tatum operating from like the mid-range or whatever. And so from Golden State's perspective, it's like, yeah, you got the switch, but you took a contested 17-footer, one of which Tatum made, but besides that, like I remember Jalen missing one like that. Tatum missed a few, and I mean, this is something we've seen in the playoffs. Like I remember game, 5, when the Bucks were switching in the tail end of that, and the Celtics offense just became, we don't know what to do. We can't get a driving lane right now. There was also that possession in the third that resulted in a Tatum step back, basically corner three over Wiggins, where there just wasn't a whole lot of anything going on. The Warriors were not zoning up, but as close to a zone as you could basically get to. And, well, to state the obvious, having a little movement and trying to score on the Warriors, I mean, good luck. There was another possession where Horford set a down screen for Tatum, and Draymond just switched on to Tatum, which then led to Derek White trying to take it himself, and that ended up being a missed layup. I remember there was a possession in the first half, and, you could have just said, well, the Celtics, they killed themselves in the first half with all the turnovers, right? And I mean, yeah, some of them are just going to be them, Marcus Smart getting too ambitious with a bounce pass or whatever. But there was one play where I think it was Tatum trying to get a screen from, I want to say it was Horford, and Draymond switched, and it was a really aggressive switch that forced Tatum into going back almost to the half-court line, honestly, and then he ended up just having an erratic drive that led to a turnover. So it wasn't just the Celtics being dumb with the ball. I mean, there was that trap that they had on Jalen when he was trying to get a screen from Time Lord on the left wing, like early in the third quarter, that led to a turnover. And so, sure, while the Warriors' avalanche did happen in the third quarter between Jordan Poole making that three over Daniel Tice, basically the half-court shot at the end of the third, you had a couple times where they were not high enough up on Steph's screens, which, yeah, it's pretty annoying every single time it happens. But really, to me, it was the turnovers and just how do you free up the Celtics offense some more. I mean, the lineups situation for the Celtics is pretty interesting right now between a little more spacing with one big guy out there more. And, I mean, the Warriors are going to dare Derek White and whoever to make shots. I mean, Derek White was making shots in this one. Of course, he can go off the dribble if he's got that driving lane from being left open. I don't know what the perfect solution is between both Horford and Time Lord. One of them, just basically trading places, a few minutes for this guy as the lone center, then it's the other guy for a few minutes. Because, sometimes I'm like, well, the spacing with both of them out there, it's a little rough, but also the screen setting can be a little better. Also, there's still Time Lord's gravity around the rim, but also he had 2 points in this game, and I mean, we can appreciate putting a guy right there. I know that means they also have to match you with a guy right there. Well, sometimes it's like, were you kind of not in the way on this one possession, I'm not going to act like I know the perfect answer here, but I think with the switching defense and the occasional trapping by the Warriors and with the pretty aggressive playing off of guys for the sake of packing in the paint and moments where, yeah, Tatum's got to switch onto Jordan Poole, but he's got a defender on either side of him because they're both digging in really aggressively and stuff. Do you need the extra spacing? I don't know. I mean, there is a world in which you're dominating the glass and you have those couple possessions where Horford found it in the post against like Klay Thompson that go in, or you've got Time Lord who's able to just really wall off the paint, but I don't know. That's where I'm at after 2 games. And just if in case I didn't make it obvious enough, Steph Curry's amazing.